Good morning. God bless you. I want to speak today about Jesus' more difficult teachings. When faced with the easy stuff, don't lust. I'm not saying that any of these are easy, by the way. Don't lust, don't anger, don't do this, don't do that. People almost have a tick list. Yep, I've got that one nailed, got that one nailed. Yeah, I'm okay on that one. But what do we do when we get to the more difficult stuff? Jesus said, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength. He also said, love your neighbour as yourself. We say, okay, I love my neighbour. No, he says, unconditionally love everybody you come across. Okay, that one's a little bit more tough. But how about this? In the Beatitudes, Jesus said, love your enemies. And he didn't just say, put up with them. He said, unconditionally love your enemies. So Jesus' teachings start to get a little bit tougher. Forgive, Jesus says. Forgive or you won't be forgiven. So we start to get into the detail. It starts to become challenging. But in the book of John and verse 6, we see this, that Jesus is talking to this group of people, and he says that he is the bread of heaven. He said, you had the manna that came down from God, from the Father, gave you manna from heaven when you were with Moses in the desert. And he said, and that was your food. He said, I am the bread of life. He said, I am the true bread, the bread that the Father has sent down from heaven. He said, then Jesus goes on and he says, unless you eat of my flesh and drink of my blood, he said, you can have no part with me. Now, the disciples at that point were a massive group. We see that Jesus sent out the 72. So we know it's a big group of disciples that are following Jesus, not just the 12. But when Jesus talks about this, and we catch up here in a moment, they have a bit of a problem. In John 6 and verse 60, when many of his disciples heard it, they said, this is a hard saying. Who can listen to it? But Jesus, knowing in himself that his disciples were grumbling about this, said to them, do you take offence at this? Then what if you see the Son of Man ascending to where he was before? It is the Spirit who gives life. The flesh is no help at all. The words that I have spoken to you are spirit and life. But there are some of you who do not believe. For Jesus knew from the beginning those who did not believe and who it was who would betray him. And he said, this is why I told you that no one can come to me unless it has been granted him by the Father. After this, many of his disciples turned back and no longer walked with him. So Jesus said to the 12, do you want to go away as well? Simon Peter answered him, Lord, to whom shall we go? You have the words of eternal life, and we have believed and come to know that you are the Holy One of God. When Jesus' teachings get really tough and when we're challenged by them, you see here, it's not an excuse to turn away. It's not an excuse to say, I'll forget about that and come back to it later on. We are to be challenged. We are to be changed. Jesus said, if you love me, you'll obey my commandments. If you really love me, you will obey my commandments. Let us be a people that we love Jesus. I know that. We love Jesus. But let us be a people who are prepared to be changed, to be prepared to be challenged. Let us not turn back, but let us be a people that press on with Jesus. As he said, I suppose you're going to turn away as well to the 12. And they said, where else will we go? You have the words of eternal life. God bless you. I hope that you have a wonderful day today. Enjoy this day, for God has made it. Let us rejoice in it.